How much I spent on traveling 2 weeks in Colombia. First off, flights, which are always the most expensive part of the trip. However, I had a nice benefit with my company at the time, so my return flight was booked with those points. I was flying from LA to Medellin. However, there was a cheaper flight stopping in Cancun for a few days, so I took that and only paid $300. I took some national flights once I got to Colombia, which ended up being $83 total for 2 flights. So that brings flight total to be $383. And then, of course, we have lodging. I stayed a total of 15 nights. I do tend to stay in hostels. Some are more expensive than the others, but the grand total was $232.30, which rounds out to be $15.50 per night. Food was a little bit more difficult to calculate because I did pay mostly cash. However, I think it averaged out to be about $18 per day. I'm sure some days I paid more, some days I paid less. But that brings my food total for 16 days to be $300. I took a few buses across the country and some taxis. I'm going to average out my transport expenses to be about $26. And I really didn't pay that much of an experiences. I'm going to round up and say I spent $30. So looking at all my totals for a 16-day trip in Colombia, I ended up spending $971.30. That is still cheaper than rent in most places I've lived, so I think it was definitely worth it. Follow me for more travel content.